I keep breaking everything in my business and then fixing it and then breaking it and then fixing it. But there's a reason why. The reason why is because in business, you are going to notice that everything tends to have, whether you've got marketing, sales, whatever it is, and all the factors of business, you're always going to notice that there's fires everywhere around you. And you've got to be able to start figuring out that not everything is going to burn the house down. And when I first got into business, I wanted to just fix everything. And I started noticing that we were moving down instead of moving up. Every time I would fix something and break it and fix it and break it and fix it, I just kept noticing that we were moving down instead of moving up. Early on, and when I started building the team, I came across a motto or something that I knew that I wanted to live by because I noticed how important it was in my business and then in my life, and then everything else that started to kind of come into play as we brought people in, and ultimately it started off as trust, understand, prioritize, and execute. 4 words. And when I first started this was about simply just client point of view, right? If we wanted to be able to help clients, we needed to be able to build trust. We needed to be able to understand what the client needed, prioritize the things that they needed to move forward in their contract, and then execute on the things that we said that we were going to execute on, right? That's one of the biggest faults that a lot of people have, is that they don't execute on the things that they say. And then as we started bringing people on, the same 4 things applied to the people that we brought on. We needed to be able to trust the team. We needed to be able to understand each other. We needed to be able to prioritize team activity. And then we also needed to be able to execute on the things that we said we were going to. And then it applies, as team to team member, it applies to internal problem solving. And I'm going to explain that here. And so these 4 things will help you determine what problems need to be solved, how to solve problems, how to interact with people, how to bring people into your organization. And there's so many different levels to this, but I want to be able to show you trust, understand, prioritize, and execute. These 4 words are going to help change your life, and hopefully for the better. So here's how I use them when I'm problem solving. In the very beginning, you've got to understand the layout. You've got to understand what problems that your business is bringing to you and which ones you need to focus on, right? And so understanding where the problems are is the first step. So let's say that we've got a sales problem. We're not converting, we're not getting people on the phones, or we, for instance, for our team, we were having a high number of people coming in, but the quality of people coming out was not good. We were not focused on the correct things when we were taking in that internal sales call. So understand all the problems in your business, understand which ones need your attention, and then be able to break that problem down itself. Prioritize all of the tasks that it's going to take to break this problem so that it doesn't affect other things. And prioritizing is a system in itself, but the biggest thing that I'm going to help you take away or hopefully bring to your plate here as far as when you're breaking things is being able to prioritize the actual problem. How important is it that I fix this? And then on a deeper level, what is it going to take to actually solve this problem? So for instance, when we were having the quality issue, we needed to look at the problem itself and say, okay, well, what we're saying on the phones is what's giving us the outcome. We are basing things on time instead of qualification. And so we looked at that problem, we focused on it, and we came up with some alternatives to what that problem is bringing. And then we started breaking down, okay, so how do we fix this, right? We prioritized the task that it was going to take to fix the problem. Now, once we go through we understand what the problem is, prioritizing the task that it's going to take, then we can go into execution. Execution is the biggest piece here because now we have to understand how to break this problem down. The problem itself is going to come up with its own level of breakdown, which is going to be what the problem is, how can it affect the business if I break it, how do I actually break this problem, and what alternative do I need to put in place? And then number 4 is going to be actually breaking the problem. the best part because you have to implement everything that you've understood, you've prioritized, and now we're executing on the fact that this could break and maybe we don't have a suitable option to solve it, right? This entire week for me has been that. The entire month has been that. But I'm starting to notice that everything is starting to work. And so that leads us to the next piece. We have now broken the problem, or we have now broken the thing that's not working. We have fixed it. We have implemented whatever resolve that we are going to implement, whether that's a system, whether that's a new script, whether that's blank, 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 blank. We have now implemented that. We now have to step away. We have to now trust the fact that this is going to solve the problem. In business, some things are immediate. They happen instantaneously. You fix this, and then the next day, everything is working, right? We saw that with the script change. We saw that with the qualification change. This is where the fun part really starts, is because not everything is going to happen immediately. So you have to be able to say, okay, I've got to take a step back and trust that that's going to solve the problem. And I cannot touch anything else, because if I touch anything else, it could cause more problems here. It could cause more problems here. And then the team ultimately is moving downward instead of moving upward as a trajectory, because there's too many things that they're trying to implement. They're fixing this, they're doing this, they're working on too many things, and they're implementing too many new tasks. And so ultimately they get bogged down, which starts pulling the team down. I ran into this very early on, and I try to stay away from even solving problems. And I was like, we're just going to take it down the road. And that's not the way to do it. This is the way to handle it. You break it, you take a step back, you trust the process that it's going to work out. And ultimately, you give it 30 days, 60 days, you're going to start noticing that uptick again, because everybody's implementing the things that you have put in place. This is where the next step comes into play, because as you fix things, other things are going to break. And now you've got to be able to look at those problems and say, okay, is this urgent and important, or is it just urgent because I feel like it's urgent? Or is it important just because I feel like it's important to solve right now? The easiest way to explain this for us, it was we fixed these problems on the front end, and now on the back end, we're now realizing we did not prepare for 1,500 contracts and listings and all these other things. We didn't prepare for that. So therefore, now we've got a funnel that everybody's getting trapped in. We fixed all these great problems and we have all this motion, but we did not prepare for the journey. And so that's where we're at right now. And we have fixed that. And now everything seems to be working pretty solid. And so that's one of those things that I'm going to recommend is just taking the step back, trust the process. We now understand the top 4 things. We understand what the problems are. We have prioritized what it's going to take to get that problem solved. And then we start executing on that. And then we will trust the process, the simple fact that we are going to step away and let these things solve because we have implemented, and we trust that we have implemented the correct thing. And so that's what I'm going to leave with you today. Understand, prioritize, execute, and trust. The fact that all of this is going to work out, you just got to keep showing up and doing what you're supposed to be doing. If you guys have any questions, or if this was helpful, let us know. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to support you guys. We're trying to bring some sort of actual application to the people that listen to us. And hopefully this is doing that. And if it's not, let me know, because I don't want to just keep showing up and no one's getting any benefit. So ideally, that's some of the things that I've learned over the past 12 years, and I hope that is good stuff.